Perfect. Ooh. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's good to see y'all. Some I've seen before, some I have not. Welcome. Also, as far as anyone who's going to be watching on YouTube later, thank you for joining us. But thank you all. So, without further ado, welcome to the REACH program. So, the program, this presentation is only going to be about between 20 to 30 minutes. Not going to take up too much of your time. Definitely enjoy the pastries, the hors d'oeuvres, the coffee, everything like that. So, we're here today just to talk about what is REACH, essentially what the program is, how, who's it for, why is it important, and then also we're going to be talking about just how does therapy help? What is the purpose of therapy in this? At the end of the presentation, any questions that you may have, feel free to ask and I answer away, okay? So, what is the REACH program? So, REACH stands for Resuming Engagement in Activities That Create Happiness. So, it is a therapy-based wellness program, therapy-driven, and the goal is different activities that you enjoy. There may be a barrier, whether that be shoulder pain, knee pain, back pain, different things like that, a barrier that keeps you from doing these activities that you enjoy. And so our goal with therapy is to overcome those barriers, get you back into those activities that bring meaning to your life, okay? So therapeutic, and what does that mean? It is going to be led by our speech therapists, our occupational therapists, and our physical therapist. So being that it is led by them, every activity that we do for the program, the activity that you want to get back into, is all geared towards getting towards back to that activity. So every single exercise warm-up is designed for getting you back to this activity that brings joy to your life. And because it's therapeutic, everything is adapted to you as an individual. Wherever you are starting out is where we adapt to your needs and then progress from there. So who's it for? Like I just said, everybody of any level. So you could be starting out with any level to get toward that activity, any barrier that you may have, and we work from there. So for an example of an activity, gardening. So people like to garden. Some do, some don't. But for the people who do like to garden, that's a fun activity that brings joy to your life. One piece of that is to try to get down and maybe get those weeds. May have a little bit of a barrier there depending on how sensitive maybe some back pain is. And so we will progress activities where maybe you can't bend down to this point and that hurts, but you may be able to bend down here. And so that's a starting point. And then we work with our different activities and exercises to progressively get down lower over time. So it's very progressive, it's very guided, and very safe. And as far as the nice thing about this program and the different activities within it is that we will have people that are wanting to get back to activities that they used to do and love and they just can't because some different barrier. And we might have people that are wanting to try an activity for the first time, but they just have this thing that's holding them back from trying it, And so that's designed for all these different types of people. So we can go ahead and overcome those barriers. So it's different activities that create happiness. Just some examples. We have gardening, like I mentioned, yoga and gentle movement, some arts, music and crafts, anything that's social and a recreational activity. And then really just because this is designed for activities that bring you joy, any activity that brings you that joy. So our current REACH right now, as far as that, we have designed 18 different activities that each of them have programming for speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. So you see here we have right now biking, bird watching, cards and table games, computer and electronics, cooking, dancing, drum fit, fall correction, gardening, golf, knitting, crochet, painting and crafts, some of the shopping and outings, singing, swimming, tennis and pickleball, trivia, and yoga. Now, trivia is not necessarily going to have a physical therapy component or an occupational therapy component, but it's really big for speech therapy because speech therapy is designed for not only vocal projection, but a lot of things of the brain, a lot of cognitive tasks, memory recall, sequencing. So a lot of these will have speech therapy involved with them as well. Not all of them though, but a lot will. With our current reach, like I said, there's 18 of them. Fall correction, not necessarily an activity, but it's a good program to have for anything that requires balance. And maybe we don't have that specified activity up there yet. But we will, because I'm sure we're going to hear about different activities that you'll enjoy that we don't have, that we will look into getting programming for. So our first quarter reach, so every month there's going to be a highlight of at least one program. So for January, I wanted to tie in a program with our fitness coordinator, Talina, that she does an activity that is not only a fun exercise program, but it is an activity. It's in itself. It's not just an exercise class. It's her drum fit. So there are different barriers that someone could have, such as with their hands, with their elbow, their shoulders, their back. They might not have the endurance to actually sit in the positions and lean as comfortably as they would like to be able to do drum fit. And so our goal in therapy would be to go after those barriers, improve that ability to move, improve that ability to have the endurance for sitting down and moving to do those activities. And so we can get people to feel better, move better, reduce the pain to get people back into doing that activity. So our January highlight is going to be drum fit. February is a fun one because cards and table games, I know, is very important to a lot of you. Cards and table games, when I have to try to schedule people for therapy sessions, a lot of times I need to work around cards and table games because it is super important. And so I know how much this activity brings happiness to all of y'all. So we have a highlight for February as cards and table games, and that one's a really nice, important one. In that one, we can work on different things such as fine motor coordination and hand dexterity. Again, if your card and table game is seated or standing and you have back pain, that plays a role in that and your comfort into being able to do that. With hand motion and strength, there are ways to get your hands and fingers to feel better with holding different cards and different activities that you may be doing. But also there is adaptive equipment too, whereas we can implement if needed to be able to get you back into those games. So that is our highlight for February. March is going to be gardening. Now, March is actually gardening because April is National Gardening Month. So I wanted March to be the highlight, to really have a nice highlight and getting everyone aware to, if they have any of these barriers, they come on in, get yourself ready for National Gardening Month in April. So that is why March is gardening. And now, for the rest of the quarters, there's going to be probably more than one highlight. You saw we have 18 different programs. So we probably are going to highlight 2 per month, 3 per month, maybe even, to get them all in there, okay? Now, at any point with this, you can come in for any program at any time. These are just highlights per month. That's all that is. So, how does therapy help? Briefly touched upon it. Different ways of helping with mobility, helping with strength, helping with balance and coordination. On the speech therapy side, memory recall, sequencing, all these different things that we can help elevate and strengthen to then give everyone more confidence and independence with doing these activities. So here's our physical benefits, just touched upon them. You have your mobility, your balance, your fall prevention, your ability to move better without pain. So that is our physical benefits. Our emotional and mental benefits. Increasing the happiness. The whole point of the program is to get you back doing these fun activities. So increasing your mood, reducing stress, because now you're not worried about you can't do these activities. So reducing stress, anxiety, improving mood. And when you feel better, there's a greater sense of purpose in life. And so that's what we want to encourage as well. A lot of these things, especially cards and table games, social events, they are getting together with your friends. They are having fun together. So if we can get people back into these activities that, have these barriers that are keeping you away from these activities, and we get you back in them, you're going to be socializing more with your friends, which also here will build a greater sense of our community. And that's what we definitely want to help out with. We want everyone to feel a great sense of purpose and community here at John Knox Village. So what does a therapy session look like? It is not a boot camp. It is not a 45-minute straight go, 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 go activity. You're in there to enjoy it because you're trying to get back to something fun. So you have your warm-ups, you have your gentle movements, you do have rest breaks. So you have, every activity is geared toward that goal of that activity. So everything should be very fun. It should be supportive. As you're making these little goals towards that activity, we should be increasing, how much you're enjoying it because we're getting back to that activity. And safety. Safety is going to be huge because it is therapy-led. So everything is guided with your therapist there to make sure you're safe, to make sure that you are not being pushed too hard. If a movement still hurts, we need to look at adapting that movement, and as we will adapt all the exercises to what you are capable of doing at that time. So everything is going to be very encouraging. There's not pressure. Again, it's not a boot camp. You're not driven to just keep going, push through the pain, no gain. No, that's not what we want. Okay, we want these different motions and activities to feel comfortable, but challenge you to get better. And then as far as how can someone participate in this? So give us a call. Our extension is 2705. So you can call that number. We will be glad to answer any of the questions. The other way is this is no different than if you have an injury and you go to your doctor and get a referral for therapy. So you would go to your doctor, your primary physician. If you had, say, your barrier to do gardening was knee pain, you would just go to your doctor and you get a referral for knee pain. And then you would bring that to us, and then we would get started on the proper programming for you. If you had any questions about, what are the right steps, what programming do I need to get back to this goal of this activity, give us a call. And that way we can help guide you through that process. Okay? And as far as that really is it, because that is our program. So does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any activities that we don't currently have that would be great ideas to take a look at? Yeah, Tai Chi would be a great activity. That would be a fantastic one, and I do implement rehabilitative Tai Chi in a lot of my therapy sessions. So I love that one, and that one definitely needs to be in there. Thank you. Anybody else with any activities? Right up front. It would be recommended, yes, to get a referral. Mm-hmm. And it's because for Florida law is we have the ability by Florida law for direct access. The issue is that when it gets into insurances, and so insurances often not require a referral or a sign-off on the physician, so it's better just to have the referral first. Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's a great question. So yes, because you're going to go through your insurance, and if your insurance has that allowance of days and things like that, Yeah, because you are then using it for, let's say, example, physical therapy days. Yes, with your insurance. Mm-hmm. It would. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Martha couldn't do the referral, and because since she's the fitness coordinator, she would be. You would look at like personal training, but the thing is that with therapy, it's very targeted to different barriers, to like pain in your shoulder, things like that, knee pain, and so then we look at it. It's very targeted and different than from a necessarily a personal training approach. It's not necessarily general fitness. Mm-hmm. Oh, did I hear Martha? Sorry. I heard the wrong person. I'm sorry. So for Martha, yes. So for Martha, yes. If she's your primary care physician, you go see Martha. She gives you a referral. I'm sorry. I was thinking Talina in my head. Thank you. Yep. Oh, so as far as for bone strengthening, so we absolutely have program for that. That would not necessarily be now as far as for this programming, because this is all regarding around certain activities. If you have an activity that bone strengthening would be your barrier, then absolutely. As far as in this program. Now for therapy in general, if you just need bone strengthening for general well-being, absolutely come see us. Okay. Mm-hmm. Absolutely can see it. Come see us. Come see us. Yep. Mm-hmm. So they can, and that can be part of the home exercise program. So whoever your your evaluating therapist would be, your speech therapist, they can design home exercise program for you at home for them as well. Same thing for occupational therapy. Same thing for physical. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would. Mm-hmm. Yep. So if there's any like home concerns as far as with our therapist, they can take a look and then make recommendations, modifications. Absolutely. They can. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Go for it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. And so it's going to be like, say, if someone has a barrier that encompasses speech therapy and occupational therapy, we would approach that to you and give that option to you as far as to get you back to this activity. There's speech therapy that can be involved and occupational therapy. Would you like to see both? And then if you did, they would be different sessions, but it can be in the same time frame. Mm-hmm. So you might have speech therapy at 1 o'clock, but then, occupational therapy at 3 o'clock that day if you wanted, or within that week. But they could be in the same time. If you wanted 30-minute sessions of each, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a microphone.
Go for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a soft voice.
It's okay.
I guess the last question I have, I know that dealing with stress is very important. It affects everything that one does. It affects our physical body, our mind, our emotional body. And I know I've participated in some of the classes with Talina, and I know that sometimes for some of their classes, maybe the last, 5 minutes, she does, some stress reduction. I know that Tai Chi is, besides the physical movements, is supposed to help with stress reduction. But I guess this is just a food for thought. Have you ever thought about doing, may not necessarily be for an hour, but a half an hour, of just a stress reduction class, doing things like visualizations, guided imagery, weight relaxation techniques? It's just a food for thought as a possible activity in the future, that you can dedicate it on its own as opposed to in conjunction with something else.
Right. And that's a great question. And that ties into a little bit of if it's therapy versus something maybe like a personal trainer could do. So what we can incorporate in our sessions is a little bit of that, because we can gear it towards, the different activity that you're trying to get back into. Trying to do a long form class of that, 30 minutes or more, that might be harder for us to do based on how we are graded for our billing because of therapy versus fitness. But it's something we can definitely include, like, we have a warm-up, like a reach therapy said how to warm up. That can be a cool down. That can absolutely help still going to that goal, to have a diaphragmatic breathing, a deep breathing exercise, which is great for lowering that stress, which is great for, especially if you have back pain, that type of breathing activity exercise is really good for relaxing the body as a whole. And we can absolutely incorporate that into our programming.
Probably part of the question that I was asking in terms of, say, a whole 30-minute class of relaxation, visualization, guided imagery, it sounds like maybe Talina would be the person to ask about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as an entire class geared towards that, we can incorporate in a lot of our goals for our movements, as far as, having some movements for our goals, and then having, like I said, deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing involved in those movements, like a rehabilitative Tai Chi, because that is, you're going to get a lot of that relaxation, and the entire thing is movement-based, whereas also we can incorporate in therapy. Now, I've had classes where I do rehabilitative Tai Chi as far as for a therapy session, and that will last more than about 30 minutes, but it's because it's incorporated in it. It's all a part of it.
The movement. Okay, thanks, Chris.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm done.
They're all really good questions. I do appreciate them. Anybody else? No? Okay. So the biggest thing I want to leave y'all with is keep reaching for activities that make life meaningful. And so that's really what the REACH program is about. It's resuming engagement in activities that create happiness. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.